And let's start with who has any questions first.
Hi, John. It's Bernard.
Yes.
Hi. We spoke earlier. We made up that we're going to meet here, I guess, and discuss this. So we're talking about on the contract that I gave you the cell number to, if I need to be licensed or registered as a contractor on those or specific ones.
What email did you send that to me from?
T, Tom, Sierra Lima, Octopus, Mike, Igloo, Umbrella, Charlie. Yes, the top one. Sorry. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Okay. Looks like demo. It's like a demo job. So they're probably not going to require you to have a contractor's license just to do demo. There is going to be a site visit. You see that?
Yep.
Not mandatory, but they're saying they strongly encourage it. So if it's at all possible, if it's local and you can make it, I would definitely do the site visit.
Mm-hmm. John.
Yes.
Another question. Once I have a market price, what is the industry standard for a markup, I guess? For the margins?
Average markup's about 15–20%.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And is there a way to get the government to purchase it as a simplified acquisition?
Rarely. I mean, if they put it out as a simplified acquisition, yeah, but just getting them to change it to a simplified acquisition is rare.
Oh, okay. So the government puts out bids for simplified. Like, is there a way to bid on those or find them? Or
yeah, I mean, they post them in FBO or they'll reach out to you directly.
Oh, wow. So under set-asides, it would be set aside for simplified acquisition?
No, set-asides are contracts that are set aside for woman, minority veteran, 8A, HubZone, or service disabled veteran, and some of those can be done as simplified acquisitions.
They can be done as simplified acquisitions?
Some can, yes.
Mm-hmm. Such as, I mean, is there a parameter for those?
No, I mean, simplified acquisitions are contracts that are not put out for bid. There's no requirement for the rule of two. Sometimes they prepay, and there's no real threshold on them. A lot of what FEMA does is done as simplified acquisition. So if FEMA needs something, they're not going to put it out for bid. That takes too long. They're just going to buy it, right?
Got it. Is there a way to get on the list of vendors?
When we register you in the system, that's one of the things we do is register you for simplified acquisitions.
Mm-hmm. If I was, say, to register, self-register, is there a way civilians can do it?
If you're gonna self-certify, I'm gonna give you the list of all the different things you need to do.
Wow, that's great. Terrific. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Under this solicitation that you're looking at, I did see that there was a sheet or an offer, the offer guides to fill out. How do I alert them to know that I'm interested in bidding?
We'll get to that in a minute. The question you asked earlier was whether or not you need to be a licensed contractor.
Right.
Right? Okay. Right here it says all contractors working on state shall provide all federal regulations, Environmental Protection Agency, 40 CFR series. So the state, give me a second. Okay. If anybody who's listening that's not talking right now, if you guys could mute, sounds like someone's walking around with their phone in their pocket or something. So this one right here, the EPA has a 40 CFR series. You need to download that and read it and see if it requires anything that you don't have. They're also saying you have to follow the state EPA rules. This is their environmental protection specialist, Robert Parrish, so you can get in touch with him and ask him to give you a link or refer you to any guidelines that you need to follow.
Mm-hmm. What is MKC, by the way?
Not sure. Oh, Madison Kip Corporation.
Gotcha. So I could just give a call to Robert Padish and ask him for instructions on how to go about filling the 40 CFR?
The 40 CFR you can download.
Okay.
He's the one you want to reach out to for the environmental management and pollution prevention programs instructions. And you also are going to have to get copies of the environmental protection specialist prior. So it must be provided to material safety data sheets of permits, notice of intent, contractors. Of course, that's all they're giving us right now. They're not giving us a whole lot on this because this is a pre-solicitation. This is not out for bid yet.
Oh,
so it's a pre-solicitation. Okay. See that? More than likely what's going to happen is they're gathering Q&As. They're gathering questions, and then they're going to post answers to the questions on probably here on FBO. And then they'll extend the requirements again when they do that. They'll put the due date out a little farther. But these are your responsibilities right here. It does not say anything about how they want you to interact with them as far as being an interested vendor in this. So what I would do is put it on the watch list.
Brad, I did that.
And I would also add myself to the interested vendors list. And you understand not everybody on this list is a bidder.
Yeah, I was wondering that as well. I saw on a couple of my solicitations that I started following, I saw that there were a couple interested vendors, and it was, let's say it was a small business set aside. I see a major, or not a major, but it's for-profit contracts and grants. No small business or part of the 23% people who apply to that, and they're following
right.
interested.
Right. And this is why. Yes, and this is why. Okay. Look at this interested vendors list, for example. Marvin Heyman. Marvin is not a contractor. He sells proposal writing. All right. He wants you to pay him to write your proposal. That's why he's on here. He's not interested in this to bid on directly as a contractor. He wants someone to pay him to write this proposal for them. So he's on here because he's selling something. Okay. Construction Journal. They're not a construction company. They sell construction project monitoring and what is it? When you do a project, you got to make sure that scheduling and all that. They have software that does scheduling and monitoring, stuff like that. So they're not a contractor. They're not bidding on this. They're on here because they want to sell their product to the awardee. Magwood, never heard of them. I had to guess maybe they are a contractor, but maybe they're not. Puente Construction Enterprises, if I had to guess, they're probably going to bid on it, or they have no interest in bidding. They just want to be notified when it's awarded so they can offer their services as a subcontractor. You're on here. I'm on here because I just put myself on here. And Rand Group looks like they are an air conditioning company, and they probably have no interest in bidding on it. They just want to be notified when it's awarded so they can offer to provide their services as a subcontractor as well.
Gotcha. John, have you ever heard of G.S.A experts?
Who?
I see them. G.S.A experts. I see them in a couple contracts.
Yes, yes. They're the same thing as Construction Journal.
I got you.
They're selling a service. They want you to buy it, but you don't need it in order to do work for the government.
Makes sense.
All right. And if you ever need someone to write a proposal for you, I write proposals, so you don't have to go to Marvin or any other third party and not know if they're going to do a good job. You can come to me directly.
Perfect.
Any other questions?
No, I think that's it. I'm going to have to figure out the clause 16 over there on the environmental aspect.
Yeah, that's all you can do on this one because it's pre-solicitation. It's not out for bid yet. All right?
All right. Perfect. Thanks, John.
Not a problem. Anybody else have any questions or a bid or solicitation proposal you want to work on? You guys still hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, John?
Yes.
Yeah, how you doing? James Robinson?
Yes.
I sent you an email to look at I had a couple of questions on a solicitation.
Okay.
Some of the questions was answered on the what we just did, so I just wanted to check to see.
Okay.
James at DeMarca, D-E-M, yeah. No. Yeah, DeMarca Management. Yeah,
What questions did you have?
All right, so the posted date is November 22nd, then the response date is is not filled in. I see it's
Because it's a pre-solicitation. Yep, that's why.
So what usually is a couple of days, or how do they go about doing that?
More than likely they're probably going through the question phase right now because there's no attachments. There's really no information on here. They're not telling us a whole lot about what it is they want to buy. So they're probably either getting their act together to post the rest of the information, or they're going through the question phase at this point, waiting for contractors to ask them questions so they can respond to it. It could be one of several things, but there's not even enough information on here for you to ask questions, you know.
Right.
So at this point, put it on your watch list. It's all you can do because there is no interested vendors list, and they got no way to put yourself on there. You can copy this, scroll down, and reach out to Gary and just express written interest on this pre-solicitation. But, you know, you're kind of bothering them when you do that. I would just keep it on your watch list, keep an eye on it. More than likely, it'll go out for solicitation here in the next week or two.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Any other questions? Any other questions? Anyone? Bueller? You guys still hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, nobody else has a bid or a solicitation proposal they want to work on. Nobody else has any other questions. We could go ahead and wrap it up for the day and call it a night and get ready for Thanksgiving. Or if you guys want to wait and see if anybody else joins, we can give it another 10 minutes or so.
John, it's Bernard again.
Yes.
I have a question. What's my likelihood of winning a contract with zero past performance? Let's say a contract that we just looked at.
Most small business set-asides are not about, the most important factor is your solution. And it'll say that on a small business set-aside, usually in the synopsis, in the evaluation phase. They're going to tell you how they're going to evaluate the proposals. And a lot of times they'll say, especially if it's a small business set-aside, it'll say that your technical proposal is the most important deciding factor. Your past performance is second, and your price is third, meaning you don't have to be the cheapest to win. You got to have the best solution. I have clients win contracts all the time without past performance. Look at, well, even as a startup, look at Rockrim. Rockrim is a startup. They decided to get registered and broker contracts, and he got registered. We got his SAM completed on 5/22. I helped him set up his FBO on 5/26. He got a first contract to bid on and submitted his first bid on June 1st.
Oh,
And he won his first contract on June 30th. He won his first contract 30 days from submitting his first bid. And the government knows he has no past performance because he's a startup company. He didn't have any past performance, you know, not federal or not state or local government. He had no private past performance either. And the government knows he's a one-man show, says it right there. The government knows he's a startup company because his DUNS number and cage code were just activated. They know he works out of his home. They don't care. They need to hit 23%. They're going to do it however they have to.
right.
I'll give you another example. Blue Raven. Okay. Here's a client who has an existing business. She has some past performance, but it wasn't federal government. She came to us back in 2012. Okay. Or excuse me, 2014. She registered, and within an hour, she called back and canceled. Within an hour. And it was because she panicked. She told somebody that she registered with the government and was going to do government contracts, and they told her, you wasted your money. It's really difficult. we tried it 10 years ago and failed and blew a lot of money, didn't get anywhere with it. And if you do a bad job, you can get in trouble. If you make a mistake, you can get put in jail and pay fines. They just scared her. So she canceled, you know. She called back the next year and inquired again. And then she called back the next year, which is this year, 2016, and she registered again right here on 8/29. This is just a couple of months ago. She registered again, and then she called back again and was going to cancel. And when she called back, she got me on the phone, and I said, listen, let's do this, okay? Before you cancel, get on my training today. Let's look for something to bid on. And if we can't find something to bid on, or if you're not happy with my trade, if you still want to cancel after the training, I will cancel you. I'll give you a full refund, no problem. So she got on the training. We found something to bid on. I helped her with the bid. She submitted it. She won her first bid. I don't think she's ever done a contract over $2 or $3 grand, and she won one for $25,000. You know, and here's someone who canceled, almost canceled twice. You know, because she was scared. These systems they're scary. Selling to the government is exciting and fun, but at the same time, you know, it can be scary. It can be intimidating. But on the same foot, it's just the opposite. It's a bragging right. It's something to be proud of. She can now tell people that she's a government contractor, even though she, you know, could be a one-person show working out of her home. To her, she's nothing in this business world. But to her clients, that she can say now she's a government contractor, in their eyes, she's huge now.
Right.
You know, and having never done a contract over $3 or $4 grand and winning one for $25,000, that's huge too.
I got you. John, I have another question. When I contact the officer in charge of the bid, is it in my benefit not to say, should I be careful not to disclose that I'm hiring a subcontractor, or does it matter? Do they care? Or what's their stance with that?
What reason are you contacting them?
For the environmental questions, or the have questions on the solicitation.
Okay. Here's the thing. Contracts that are over $650,000, and I just actually recorded a video on this today that I uploaded. If you guys are connected with me on YouTube, you'll see there's a new video posted today, and it's specifically regarding this question. Contracts that are over $650,000, most contracts that are over $650,000 have a clause in them where the awardee is going to have to sub out 23% of it to small businesses. It's not an option. They have to. Just like the 23% rule with the budget going to small businesses, they have to award 23% of their budget or that contract to small businesses. In order to prove that they've done that, they post what they pay you in a system called the ESRS, the Electronic Subcontract Reporting System, and that's where they prove that they're paying out 23%. You have to have a cage code in order for them to prove that, because they have to have their cage code to put that amount in the system that they paid you. Now, that's on contracts that are over $650,000 that require them to sub out 23%. There are some contracts that don't require them to sub it out. Therefore, if they don't require them to sub it out, they're not going to ask them to prove that they have. And if they don't force them to disclose who their subcontractors are, then they can sub it out, and the government will never know who they're subbing it to, because the government did not force them to disclose it. Some contracts.
I don't understand. I'm sorry. Tiny just confused me a little bit. Do you mind explaining?
That's what I'm doing that right now. Okay. Some contracts require you to disclose who your subcontractors are. In the instructions to offer, there's a section where it tells you that you have to list all your subs, who they are, what their DUNS number is, if they have a cage code, and their business size, etc. So in that case, you have to disclose who your subs are, and yes, the government's going to know. Okay? But if they don't require you to disclose who your subs are, then you don't have to tell the government. All right? There's no need telling them stuff that they don't know or don't ask. I had someone the other day say, you know, I called the purchasing officer about something, and I told him that I was a small business, and that's fine. And he said, I told him I was a small business and I was a startup company. And I said, why'd you tell him you were a startup company? And he goes, well, I figured he needed to know that. If he needs to know it, he'll ask you. But don't tell them stuff they don't ask. You know, there's no sense creating doubt in their mind when they didn't have it there to begin with. that make sense?
Gotcha. Yeah, it does. My question is though, you know, if I'm showing up to the site with a contractor with my sub, then isn't it gonna? I mean, aren't they gonna question what's going on, or you know?
Maybe, maybe not. Sometimes they'll, when you get to the site visit, they're going to ask you to sign in, and anyone who you bring with you has to sign in. And sometimes there's a section where it asks for their name and their business name and their DUNS or their cage code. And sometimes there's a section where it asks what your relationship is to that vendor. Sometimes they don't.
Right.
Each solicitation is different. It's all based on the instructions, what they tell you to do inside the instructions to offer. If you follow the instructions and the instructions to offer, that's a much easier way to guarantee you're going to win the contract. Because there's two reasons why people don't win. The main reason is because they don't submit bids properly. They don't follow the instructions. The other reason is because their bid's too low, believe it or not. In the private arena,
Really?
it's because your bid's too high. With the federal government, more people lose contracts because they're too low. They're not even in the ballpark.
But why? Doesn't the government look to save money?
No, not at all. I mean, look, you're talking federal employees. They're not spending their money. They're spending government money. They don't care. They do their job. That's it. If I'll put it to you this way. Let's say they get 5 bids, but they only have to receive 3. They only have to get 3 offers to award it. They're going to look for a reason to throw 2 of those offers out completely so that it's less paperwork for them. So if you don't follow the instructions or your math doesn't add up, something like that, they're going to throw it out. Now, let's say out of those 3 bids, 3 of them are in the $200,000 range, but 2 of them are in $150,000 range, or one of them's at $100,000, the other one's at $150,000. And even though the one at 100 might have done a better job, and he just was willing to do it for real cheap, the purchasing agent's going to think, well, if these guys are all around the same amount and this guy's half, he must not have understood the requirement. And because we only need 3 bids and we got 5, we're going to throw 2 of these out. And the 2 we're going to throw out are the 2 that are not in the, you know what mean median mode is? Do you remember that back in college?
A little bit.
If you've got a bunch of test scores and most of them are in the 80s,
Oh,
but you
right,
got
right.
one that's in the hundreds and one's in a 60, you don't consider the 100 and the 60. You only consider the 80s. That's the either the mean or the median. I don't remember. But they use the same policy. Yeah, they use the same policy. And again, I'm not talking about government employees in a mean way on purpose. I'm talking about people in general. People in general are lazy. If you tell them they don't have to do something, they're not going to. And if all they have to do is receive 3 bids and they get 7, they're going to look for a reason to throw 4 of those out so they don't have to do that extra work. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And if it's a small business set-aside, it'll tell you in the instructions to offer in the evaluation phase that the most important factor is your solution, is your technical proposal. Your solution is the most important factor. Your past performance is second, and your price is third or last. So you don't have to have the lowest price to win. You have to have the best solution. And if you have the best solution, even if you don't have past performance and you don't have the lowest price, your best solution is going to be the highest deciding factor. All right?
Gotcha.
Make sense?
It does, definitely.
Any other questions?
Yeah, John, do you want to, I mean, I don't know if anyone else has any other questions, but if no one does, do you mind helping me figure out the vet-biz ops, how to use the website, how to save searches and have them run on their own?
I can show you how to set up searches real quick. Until your cage code is active, if you make an account in FBO and your cage code's not active, it's not going to import any of the information in because it imports that information from your cage code. So unless you're active in SAM and you have an active cage code, I would set up a search in FBO and not do it underneath anything. Just do a blank account.
I'm not familiar.
Okay. When you register in FBO, it's going to give you an option to put in your DUNS number. You can either say, you can put in your DUNS number or you can click skip this step.
Right.
If you skip this step, it'll still allow you to open an FBO account. Just use blank information. Just use basic information. Put ABC company, you know, sales manager. Don't use any specific information. And that way, once your cage code's active and you create an account in FBO under your DUNS number, it'll pull all the information out of SAM and populate it in FBO. So, for example, that opportunity we just looked at, and we looked at the interested vendors list, and there were people on the interested vendors list that didn't have all the information listed. Let me show you.
I think my case code is active. I'm pretty sure.
Well, if so, go ahead and create an account in FBO. It's real easy. It's self-explanatory.
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I already have one.
So,
yeah.
Okay. So then you go to your My FBO right here, and you click on View Save Searches right here, and you're going to see a box that says Add New Search Agent. Click on it. So now you're going to name this search agent. You're going to label it. So we're going to label this one Construction. If you only want to see opportunities in a certain state, you click that state. It'll only search that state. If you want to search multiple states, you hold down the CTRL button, the control button on the keyboard. It's the bottom left-hand key. Hold it down the entire time and click multiple states, and it'll highlight multiple states, because if you don't hold the control button down, every time you click a state, it de-highlights the previous state. If you want to search all the states, don't click on anything, and it'll search all the states. Take your keyword or your label, copy it, which I didn't do. I just accidentally pasted. Save searches, add new, put in your keyword, copy the keyword, don't click anything. Scroll down to the keyword saw box and paste it. That's it. Don't click on any of this other stuff. Leave it all blank. And then don't click any NAICS codes, don't click PSC, just scroll to the very bottom, save and schedule, and then yes, enable, and save. And that's it. That search will run every day from now on automatically.
Really?
All right? You want to do a 2-keyword search, you want to use more than one keyword, you put it in quotes like this. So I'll do one more and I'll show you. So we're going to add new. We're going to label it. So this one we're going to label, it's going to be called Lawn and Care. Copy. Paste it in the keyword box. Scroll down. Save and schedule. Yes, enable. And save. And that search will run automatically every day from now on, and it'll email it automatically to your email address. And you can make as many of these as you want. Sit down, make up a list of keywords, and log in here and make as many of these searches as you want. All right?
Perfect.
Any other questions?
Right. Oh, John, can you email me the instructions for doing the simplified acquisition registration?
I'll send you over. It's simplified acquisitions is actually an additional part of SAM called the DSBS. So I'm going to send you over a list of everything you need to do in what order.
Thank you so much.
You got it. What email you want to send that to?
The same email yeah.
All right, you got it.
Thank you so much, John. You've really been helpful.
You can thank me after you win your first contract, all right?
I will.
All right.
Have a good night.
You too. Have a good Thanksgiving.
You too. Bye-bye.
Anybody else have a question or something they want to work on today? Anybody else have a bid they want to work on, or a question, solicitation, proposal, anything like that? Nope. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end the training for today. You guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Probably won't be back Friday. So if anything, I will talk to you guys next week.
All right. Yeah, good night.
No problem. You guys have a good Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.